joining us. We've got a nice big crowd tonight. There is a sign-in sheet that you guys know about. Some of you guys, I have your email address, but if you can give that to me, again, that'd be great. So my name is Eileen Reiling. I am head of the Visual Art Department at TSC. Very excited to start this year's artist lecture series off with a fantastic artist, Alex Pangburn. I'm going to read her bio for you, and then she will take over from me. Okay. So originally from Lexington, Kentucky, Alexandra. Do you go by Alex or Alexandra?
Artist name is Alexandria, but if I'm just like talking to you, it's Alex.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Moved to Golden, Colorado in 2017. It has been her working, or it was then she started working in the Rhino Art District and continues to work for them as the director of curation. During her time here, she has learned to tap into doing large-scale pieces. Her first spray paint mural was done in 2018, and she has recently completed her 50th mural. That's very impressive. With locations ranging in Colorado, Ohio, and Kentucky. Alex's work focuses on local flora and fauna and helps to bring education on their presence within the area that she's painting. Her realistic style focuses on expressing the details of plants, birds, animals to bring light to their recognizable physical traits. Her hope is to bring awareness to the local flora and fauna so that we may understand and better educate on ourselves on how we can conserve those species. Alex graduated with an animal science degree from the University of Kentucky in 2010, but her art business didn't really kick off until she was working at a veterinary clinic in Powell, Ohio, where she was focused and commissioned to do pet portraiture. Her pet portraits became her sole commission, and it wasn't until 2017 that she was able to start developing her own style and built a body of work that inspired her. In 2019, Alex and 8 local women artists formed Babe Walls, an all-woman and non-binary mural festival that is focused on creating space in the community among women and non-binary artists. So please help me welcome Alexandra.
Hi. It's really great to be here. So the first thing I'm going to do, it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable, is I'm going to have everybody just say their name and just talk about if they're an artist or what their relation is with art. Okay, if you're not an artist or a creative, just helps me kind of know who I'm talking to. So we'll start with you.
Justin Bustos, I'm the marketing coordinator here for the school.
Cool.
I'm Grace Baca, and I'm a student here. I'm taking artist classes.
Cool.
I'm Hans, I'm a local artist.
Very cool.
I'm Cody Keel, I'm an artist in town here.
I'm Suzanne, so a local artist focusing on weaving.
Oh, amazing.
I'm David Vasquez, and I'm in for art class.
Oh, cool.
My name's Brenda Vasquez, and I'm a student of Trinidad High School.
Oh, amazing.
I'm Chris, and I'm just interested in it.
That's great.
Margaret, and ditto, interested in art.
Sweet. Thank you for coming. There.
Dustin, I teach English at the college. I work with Riley and
Very cool.
interested in art too.
Sweet. Back there.
I'm Joshua Vermont. I'm just a student here at TSU.
Cool. Nice to meet you. There at the top.
Phoebe and I
Sweet.
Linda and Tom, and interested in art.
Nice. And those 2 guys in the back.
Scott. Adam Fox, artist.
Nice. And then gentleman that just walked in.
Tom Nordgren, drinking and entering. I teach English various right here.
Very cool. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. Nice to meet all of you. So some stuff has kind of changed a little bit in my bio. So I no longer work for the Rhino Art District. I'm officially a full-time artist as of 2 days ago. So just dove right in. But yeah, so this whole talk is just going to be about my process as an artist. I kind of chose 3 separate projects, and we'll kind of break it down on how I work with a client, and then one of them is a collaboration, so how I collaborate with an artist, and then also a studio piece, so like how I brought a vision to life to put into art. So first off, I'll kind of like intro myself. Like Eiley said, I'm from Lexington, Kentucky, or actually was born in Winchester, England. So I was there for 2 years before I moved here, or into Lexington. And then was there until 2010, where I moved up to Cary, Ohio, and I was working with horses at that point, so I was training rescue horses for the Humane Society of the United States. So not really doing like a ton of art like in college or anything, just kind of like on the side. Growing up, I did a lot of art. My mom was an art teacher, so we were always doing art. We would go down to the creek and do plein air. We were always doing those little ornaments, the styrofoam ones, and like putting sequins in them, and just like all sorts of crafts. I have 3 younger brothers, so there was a lot of us who kind of ran together. And so after moving up to Ohio and training horses, I did that for about 2 years and moved to Columbus, Ohio, where I kind of started to work at a veterinary clinic and started to dabble a little bit more into doing art. Actually totally solicited myself to clients, and they bring in their dog, we take it back to, clean their ears or something. I'd take a picture of the animal and then do a portrait, and then next time they came in, I'd be like, oh, I loved your dog so much, I did this portrait, like, would you like to buy it? And they did every time. And so from there, it just kind of became word of mouth, and it got to the point where I was booked out an entire year just for pet portraits. So once I kind of did that year, I was super burnt out and ended up just doing a very small series that would just allowed me to do whatever I wanted, and kind of like fell into the local flora fauna and really representing that. And so after doing that short little series in 2017, I moved out to Golden, Colorado, and decided that I really wanted to be ingrained in the art district. And so reached out to somebody at the Rhino Art District in Denver and started running a gallery at that point. And really got to know all the local artists. That's where I met Cody. And it was really just this great platform to be able to build my own confidence to do art myself. And so, yeah, did that for 5 years. And then here I am today going full-time art. So, yeah, we'll just kind of go through. See, did all that. Oh yeah, and then I did just kind of want to like touch on the murals. So I did my very first mural in Columbus, Ohio, and that was maybe in like 2010. Or no, what year was that? Yeah, 2016. So yeah, 2016 was like my first mural, and that was with just bucket paint, brush paint, and then it wasn't until 2018 that I was given an opportunity to use aerosol, and I did my first huge aerosol mural. And then from there, it just kind of snowballed. And being in the street art scene and kind of like being brought up to that very newly, there wasn't a lot of space for women. And so I was working at this gallery and knew a lot of the local artists, and there were a lot of women artists that kind of had this similar feeling that there just wasn't space for them, and they didn't feel like they could do murals in the scene. It was very male-driven. And so just kind of on a thought, on a whim, I was like, well, we should just do our own. We'll just like do our own festival, no biggie. So got myself and 8 other women together, and we formed this group called Babe Walls. And we just completed our 3rd festival year. So our first year was 2020, where we fundraised 50 grand in the middle of the pandemic and did 12 mural installations in Westminster, Colorado. And then in 2021, we collaborated with the city of Arvada, Colorado, and we did 22 installations. And then just this past August, we collaborated with the Standing Rock Reservation in Fort Yates, North Dakota, and we did 13 installations. So the thing that's kind of special about Babe Walls is that all of the installations are collaborations, not one artist is doing something. So it really creates a mentorship platform and a space for artists to learn from one another, because that's super important. So one of the projects that I'm going to be talking about today is a collaboration collaboration, and that's just going to kind of be a part of what I do and how my process is, and also just how different that is to collaborate with another artist. My inspiration as an artist is local flora and fauna. I really think it's super important to highlight the species that we have in the location that we're at to help conserve and educate the public on what we have. You know, in our lifetime, there have been lots of plants and animals that have gone extinct or become endangered because of the technology and the growth of our existence, and I think it's just really important that we're aware and creating space to be able to conserve them. So my art is really to showcase and highlight the local flora fauna wherever I'm painting. So like here specifically, I am really drawn to highlighting the local animals like bighorn, black bears, mountain lions, and then also birds. A lot of the birds I really focus on, and you'll kind of see that throughout my work. And then also just the client. So whenever I'm thinking about doing something, especially a commission, I really want to work with the client. If they're from Florida, I'm going to do a lot of research on local flora and fauna in Florida and try and have them some sort of connection in that way so that I'm not like doing a bighorn sheep and they've never been to Colorado. So really making sure that my art is connected to the client or the person that's requesting the art. So in the request scenario, there are some questions I ask myself and that I will go back and forth with the client just to better put together what I am going to create. So first off, who is the client? You know, is this client somebody that is coming from a commercial background? Is this a big brand that I'm working with? Or is this a specific private client that's going to have this piece of art on their home or in their home? So where am I painting is going to be the next question. Am I painting in Florida in the dead heat of summer, or am I painting in Montana in the middle of January? So this is mostly for outdoor murals or indoor murals because I got to get there too. So yeah, really paying attention to location. And then also, what is the request? So what are they looking for? Subject matter. So I do have clients that come to me and they ask me to do something abstract. Well, that's not my forte. That's not how my brain works. So it's there that I can use my artist base and be like, well, I'm not a great fit for this, but this person would do a way better job than I would. And then I can push that off to them. And then when looking at the location and the client, what is the surface, what is the wall? So am I looking at corrugated metal? Am I looking at brick, concrete, backer board, stucco? Personally, corrugated metal is the worst. I hate it, and I always charge more for it because it distorts your image and you really have to work with it in a different way. Concrete and stucco are my favorite. Stucco, however, does soak up a lot of paint, so you kind of gotta prepare for that and up your paint order. And then also another thing is, what direction is the wall facing? Is this going to be a west-facing wall? Am I painting in the summer? Is it going to be super hot, you know, after 1 p.m.? So I know that I got to get on the wall in the morning. And then if it's a east-facing wall, I want to be on the wall in the afternoon. It really also has to do a lot with lighting, whenever the sun's going to hit it. But really, like, what is going to make me the most prolific in creating this piece of art for somebody? Also the timeline, are they looking for something tomorrow, which does happen, or are they looking for something that they'll work with you on your timeline and you as an artist and let you be creative and just kind of do your thing? And then also, what is the budget? Because that really dictates, you know, what you can do. If they have a really small budget, you know, you can't get into much detail, whereas if they have a larger budget, you really are able to run with it and do whatever you want. Just a little bit more freedom in that. So this first piece I want to talk about is a piece that I did in 2020. It was on a Swiss floral shop in Wheat Ridge, Colorado. So this was a client who she had a lot of roots into Sweden, and that's kind of the whole basis of this gift shop that she runs. And so she really wanted something that kind of like brought in her love of florals. She's also a florist, but then she also wanted to have a local representation of Colorado. So this picture here is a picture of the wall that I kind of had to work with. You can kind of see that it has a little bit of a stoned-in patio, so I wasn't able to use a lift, so I had to use scaffolding, which was terrifying. Also, just a nugget, most of the time they will not set these up for you. You have to set them up yourself, and it's really terrible, so make sure you bring a friend. But yeah, so we kind of started this conversation about what she was looking for. My inspiration for the piece was wallpaper, like a floral wallpaper, because that was something that, it brought in the florals from, her ask, but also I was really inspired by wallpaper at the time, and a lot of the old floral wallpapers that you would see in the older homes. So that was something I was really working with. Also composition, you can see that this wall's kind of weird. It's got that staircase, so I had to work around that staircase and really kind of figure out where the balance of the wall was. So the main focal point of the mural was going to be that center section right where that scaffolding is. And then she also wanted that inset of that door to be part of that as well. So I kind of had to think about all these different ways that I would bring the design around to make it all encompassing and all fit together, but then also highlight this one focal point of this one image. So what I kind of wanted to show you were these two designs that we kind of worked through. These were not ones that were used, but just to kind of see like how my process worked and how the conversations with the client happened. So these were two original ones that I had sent to her, and we felt that, we didn't want the image on the left, the bird's tail is cut off, and it just seemed like it was really big. Like the bird was just humongous in the space. So we kind of worked against that, and then I kind of did a different version where the bird was pulled down. We're also working with windows, so how much of my image is going to be distorted from those windows. So I kind of wanted to play around with just the image being below those windows and not affected by it. But in composition, to me, that looks weird. It looks unbalanced. I don't know, does that look unbalanced to everybody else too? Yeah? So this is where we kind of had to go back and do a bunch of revisions. She's a lovely client, but she knows exactly what she wants, and she was going to tell me what she wanted. So lots of back and forth on this particular project. This was what I ended up coming up with. So it really created a sense of balance. The bird wasn't too humongous. The florals I kind of blew up a little bit to make a little bit more of a presence for that, since that was such a huge part of her business and being a floral shop. This piece was all done with aerosol, which was really cool. It's really fast. I did this piece in a week, but it was also west facing in July. So I had to do it in the morning, and then by the afternoon where it was 98 degrees, I had to get off the wall because it's just too hot. That's something as an artist too when you're working outside is you have to like really have love for yourself and know your limits. Don't push yourself to the absolute end because you have to come back the next day and continue to do things. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I know that's like super cheesy to say, but it's so true. But yeah, so finished this one in 2020. Definitely one of my more favorite pieces I've ever done, but definitely the most difficult in dealing with the client and also the wall. And just how many different sections and layers there were to try and put something together.